Hello, everyone. I am waiting for Claudia to sign on. She's going to talk with me today. Let's see. I've literally done this once before, so there we go. Claudia, there you are. Claudia wants to be in your video. Approve. Blink, blink. Hey, Claudia, we did it.
Yes.
I was like, I've got this on Instagram, but I'm not sure about Facebook, so thankfully it worked.
Good. There we go.
Awesome. How are you this morning? Okay, afternoon.
I'm good. I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing well. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. So tell me, yeah, we did this on Instagram the other day, so that was really fun. We were just talking about diets and the common pitfalls and dangers that some people are just not aware of, and the toll it can take on your body. And so a lot of times people don't understand, especially if they've been on a lot of diets, why it gets harder every time to lose weight, lose fat, why nothing changed. Maybe they're following all the rules and it just doesn't seem as easy. So we're going to talk about some ways, some reasons too, that happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, how did you want to start it off today? Did you want to start off with muscle loss? And...
yeah, I think that would be great. So I know I've talked to you about this before. We see this a lot is a lot of people will lose muscle when they're on a diet because they're not strength training. So if you are not purposely building muscle, you will be losing it. And that's why, it's not metabolism getting slower and everything else or your age. It's just because we become more sedentary, we lose muscle. So it does become, we do have a lower metabolism just because we don't have as much muscle mass, and muscle is the best thing that you can do to have a rocking metabolism, basically.
Yeah.
So definitely when these people go on these crash diets, they're losing muscle, and that's bringing their calorie needs even just to survive down even lower. And no wonder the struggle, because if you lose muscle, you're just taking it every time. So every crash diet, losing more muscle if you're not building it on purpose. So yes, definitely.
Yeah. And then also the fact that when a lot of people end a diet, they may lose fat, but like you said, they're also losing muscle along with that fat. At the end of if they gain back, say they lose 20 pounds. I looked up a statistic, and I'm not sure 100% sure if this is accurate, but around 75% of weight when you're doing a very low calorie diet will be from fat loss, but the other 25% is lean body mass. So 25% of the weight loss is going to be muscle. So if you lose 20 pounds, 25% of that is muscle. Then if you gain the weight back, you're not going to gain muscle back. You're going to gain pretty much more than likely all fat back. So even though you might end up weighing the same, if you do rebound, you will actually have a high body fat composition. You do that multiple times throughout life, you're just continuing to make your body worse. And it's not just from an aesthetic point of view, but like you said, from a functional point of view, as we age, we need muscle to keep us functioning properly. And then also, like you said, metabolically, it's important to have a decent muscle mass.
Yeah, definitely. And, there's even diets out there that tell you, and this should be a red flag, that you do not need to exercise while you're on our diet. That should be like the biggest red flag ever, because those are the types of diets where you will have the rebound. You're so low calorie that, there's no calories left to do anything, barely function. And they're saying, yeah, don't exercise on these diets. You're just going to be losing the muscle. So,
some of these programs are telling they have a high protein intake that they won't lose. I'm assuming that that's probably might be telling people, but that's not true. It doesn't matter. I looked up reading about that earlier too, that having a higher protein intake will help with muscle loss, but if you're going on a low diet, if you're not resistance training, you're going to lose muscle no matter how high your, especially, the more severe of a calorie deficit you go into, the more restrictive the diet is, the more muscle you're going to lose. So,
right. Right. And then, it becomes super hard to stick with. I mean, who can stick with this long term? And then we think, excuse me, oh, it's our lack of motivation or, something like that. But these diets are not intended to be long term. I mean, who can sustain that forever? You have food rules, restrictions. You can't have this food. This food is bad. And, if you're always in that mindset, number one, you're going to develop a really fear of food. And that's just really sad because that's really hard to work through. And you don't need to have a fear of food. Like I always say, and I know you too, Claudia, that there is no bad food. In fact, you can have any food in the context of an overall healthy diet. So yeah. Do you hear a lot of that too when you work with clients?
Yeah, a lot of people who end up feeling like they're, I'm going to use air quotes, like addicted to certain types of food. A lot of times the restrictive mindset makes people feel like they're restrictive mindset, but actually the macronutrients that could cause you more than you normally would.
Yeah.
So, if our bodies run, like our bodies, we don't have carbs, but it is our body's preferred source of fuel. So if we're restricting that, it's not just from psychological standpoint that we crave them, it's also physiological. We're going to have our bodies crave, and that can lead us to cravings for things like, really highly processed foods like sugar, chocolate, and candy, like things that are, give us that quick. And that leads people to think that they're the ones that have the issue with food, like some kind of weakness on their part, when in actuality, it is hard psychologically, those foods, because they are part of our life and our culture and celebration and joy.
Right.
But it's also a physiological effect of either calories, those cravings are going to hit you hard.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And a lot of times they'll not be having high protein on these diets. And when I say high protein, of course, I don't mean go low carb, but I do know that when people don't get enough protein, their hunger is out of control. Their energy's all over the place. Their cravings are all over the place. So protein definitely is always something that I recommend to make sure that you get enough of while you are dieting, or just in general, even if you're not dieting, like that it's sustainable. Because I mean, if you're finding yourself, oh my gosh, I'm starving every day at 1 or 2 p.m. and like you go in front of the pantry and you just eat anything because you can't think straight because you're starving, right? So I would say grab protein first, and that's just something that has to be practiced. It's different for a lot of people because they haven't done that on purpose before. So yeah, we always in our coaching definitely tell people we need to eat protein, we need more protein. So yeah.
And I think another thing too, I don't think we talked about this on the last live, but a lot of times people will feel like they are emotional eaters, or they'll label themselves as binge eaters. And people do eat for emotional reasons, so that definitely could be something that's going on. But if you're not managing physiological why you're having first, you're not going to be able to get hold of managing your emotional cravings, because the physiology is, our body's drive to seek food is not it's food is important for survival, and we have a lot of mechanisms that are built in place to prevent us from going hungry. Right? We're not managing, or the physiological reasons why we may have, like you said, protein, making sure that we're not in too steep of a calorie deficit, accepting the fact that it's going to be slow. It's going to be slow. If you go keto or way fast, where you're having 800 calories a day, but if you are managing those physiological reasons why you're having, and number one, what you think emotional cravings will probably lessen. There are still some emotional cravings, that you still have to deal with.
Right.
It's going to be easier to apply, um, practices and skills that can help you get through emotional eating. Which isn't the easiest thing, but first we have to handle the physiology. If you're hungry all day enough and you're trying to diet all day, and then it's 9 o'clock at night and you are feeling some type of emotion that's uncomfortable, or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, at home, lots of stuff going on and you're stressed. If you've got stress on top of like physical hunger because you haven't been feeling properly during the day,
yeah,
I mean, it's hard for anyone to manage that. So
yeah, it's definitely good to recognize those things, because once you're to a certain point, it's like you said, you can't think straight, and you don't do good thing. Nothing good can come out of it, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So what else? Do you hear an echo? I hope that we're not echoing like to everyone.
I do not hear an echo. Is it when I'm talking?
No, when both of us talk. Like when I talk, I hear this echo after, but I guess we'll know in the playback unless anyone let us know if there's something messed up going on and you can't hear us properly. But,
for practice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't hear an echo, so hopefully no one else does either. Does anybody have any questions? Let's tell them a little bit about our Fresh Start formula. Can we do that, Claudia? It's a 12-week program that begins on June 28th, and only taking 12 ladies, because we're going to work really closely with you to help you with some of these issues. It's not just a diet we're giving you, right? This is tools that will help you deal with that emotional eating, or help you understand why diets have failed before. It's not you, okay? Yes, you may have all the willpower in the world, but we're going to help you have tools to have the results you want in a sustainable way, because nobody, I don't know anybody who's like, I just want quick results, but I don't care if they go away in 3 weeks or so after this diet. Like, you do care, and you don't want to keep coming back to dieting, because it takes a mental toll. So it's really good to, figure it out and work on the basics before, that rebound happens. What else would you like to say about the program, Fresh Start Formula?
I think it's going to be, we're going to encompass the exercise part with you,
Yes.
to help people make their muscle mass, while they're losing weight. And then also get people, like, what I can tell you right now, like, I say, like, who this program is not for.
Okay.
For people who want quick results, like people who are expected to walk away and lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks, or really have any specific, weight loss goal. Like, I want to lose pounds in this amount of time. Because when it comes to changing our behavior, it's not as simple as buying a formula and getting a result. Like, we can give you, Emily easily both give you macros. If you can follow those macros, even then, we can't guarantee rate of weight loss. Our bodies are, but we can kind of give you a general idea, if we give you how much weight you'll lose in a certain. But again, our goal is to set you up in a way that prevents that rebound weight. So a lot of what I teach is mindful eating, getting people to learn how to get back in touch with their satiety cues, their hunger and fullness cues. And, obviously some guidelines as far as macronutrients concerns, like adding in protein and meal timing and things like that, discussing, and also helping people set up their own guidelines. Like, it's not going to be like, of course we're going to get, but we're going to want people to come up with some of their own guidelines in those areas so that, it fits their life.
Right.
So there's some tracking like that, but not to the point where you're like weighing and measuring everything of the program. There'll be some, counting and tracking as far as awareness concerns, to develop more awareness around foods and things like that. But and then we'll have our weekly, every 2 weeks, we will have a Zoom meeting where we will, discuss a certain topic. and anyone, any question about anything, it doesn't even have to be related to that topic. It could be related to something completely different. We can kind of coach you through whatever it is that you feel on during those meetings. We'll also be giving you like little, like nothing, we don't want to make it unmanageable. It's not going to be like we're throwing like a bunch of information at you at once, but we're going to have a private Facebook group. That private Facebook group will be, doing little throughout the week and giving you little assignments to do to kind of make sure that you're staying on track and staying accountable and things like that. So it's really about doing a different kind of work. I know you had mentioned that before. It's not necessarily about the work of being really restricted, having all this willpower and weighing everything. It's more about, more internal work and being willing to look at things from a bit of a new lens in order to get you to the point where you don't need any diets anymore, that you can lose weight away and, hopefully life.
Yeah, you can count macros all day long. You can follow the perfect meal plan, which, by the way, this is not a meal plan, okay? We want you to learn how to eat in a way that feels good for your body and helps you towards your goals. But definitely not a meal plan. And again, yeah, so we just want to give you the tools to not always be emotional eating and
learn how to build some consistency with habits that will help you reach your goals and help you maintain your goals.
Yes, yeah. Because if you can't follow the perfect rules, then they don't really do anything for you. We're not about perfection. Nothing has to be perfect, but we can always just find a way to do things a little bit better. And, coming off from eating disorders for myself many years ago, I had to learn how to eat again because I didn't understand what does a portion size look like, after under eating for a long period of time and then overeating for a long period of time. I didn't even know what a portion size that looked like, right? So
yeah,
like relearning the whole thing and working through that emotional eating and the stress eating and getting comfortable with fueling my body and putting those thoughts, try to get those thoughts out of my head about bad foods and rules and things you should restrict. And you always hear sugar is bad. And I mean, people even think fruit's bad sometimes. So we have some work to do, but yeah, we do. But the fitness portion will all be delivered from my app. And, I understand that people are traveling right now and they're like, well, I don't know if I can commit to a program if I'm traveling, but I would love to have you know that there will be body weight only workouts provided if you need those. And if you will need to even switch back and forth to your regular program to maybe body weight for a few days, not a problem. Nothing says that you have to work out on vacation, but for those of you who might be traveling, you lucky ones who can travel lots during the summer, that might be something that might encourage you to, yeah.
I have a question for you, which I'm sure, like I know the answer, but just in case anyone else has the question, what about beginners? Like, what if you are just a base level beginner, you've never done any strength training, and you do not have any equipment at home? I mean, can you the program to like the bare basics?
Yes, absolutely. You literally don't have to have any equipment. If you're not set up for that, that's okay. But even if you're just a beginner who does have equipment, doesn't matter. I have variations from complete beginner to advanced in all of my videos. And even if you still don't find something that works for you, that's the cool thing about having a group on Facebook and 2 coaches is I can always give you another variation that will work for you. Things that are very common. Oh, I have shoulder pain that I've been dealing with for years, or my knees hurt. So, if squats don't feel good for you and they're in the program, we can always give you variations, even a completely different exercise. So don't let that hold you back. As long as, your doctor says that it's safe for you to be exercising, then I think you're golden there. Yeah, don't even let that be a reason. In fact, somebody yesterday who's actually in one of my programs right now said that she was considering joining the program, but she's like, I think I'm too chicken. I'm like, it's not something that's going to be hardcore. It's not something, I mean, yes, there will be work involved and from within and, you know, all that stuff, but it's not like, I think she's probably stuck in that mentality of a diet and, oh no, rolls and that sort of. So, but it's not like that at all. Like,
no. It can definitely be done while traveling. As a matter of fact, it's great to be done while traveling. It gives you a real life situation to practice skills that will be teaching you, you know, because you won't be in an environment that's perfectly contained, where like everything, you know, curated, but where you have no foods that you it's a good place to practice the skill. Not, you know, the more you can control, you know, to an extent, you know, maybe the results will be a little bit better as far as weight loss is concerned, but not necessarily. I mean, you know, these skills can be practiced in any way, shape, or form. And that's what's so great about it. You know, that's what's allowed me to have so much freedom around, you know, my eating and not worrying about gaining weight to go on. I do. It's like, you know, I know that when I get home, you know, really get a little bit more in line with the practices that, you know, my practices that if I do gain a pound or two over the course of a vacation, you know, it'll level out fluctuation. So, but just having that freedom, yeah, being able to go any place, anywhere, and be able to not feel like I am off my diet, off the, you know, where I don't have control because I don't have my control. Does that make sense?
oh yeah, and you know, people are always saying, I'm gonna wait for the perfect time. I mean, like, do you have a perfect time in your life? Because I don't have a perfect time in my life.
Yeah,
I mean, things
I know.
always happen.
Yeah.
Birthdays, events, your kid gets sick, you don't get to eat breakfast that morning because you're going to the emergency room. I don't know. Like lots of things happen as a mom, but even if you're not a mom, like things happen all the time. And you know, if we're always saying that we'll start when it gets less busy or when we can focus, I mean, this is like real life stuff that we want to help you learn to navigate in any situation. So there's no perfect time. If you find the perfect time, please let me know and bottle that up because we are all very busy women, right? And yeah, but there's no perfect time. So it's just how to navigate it into your busy life. No perfect situations. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. So,
anybody have any questions? We are happy to answer some.
Yeah, and you can always DM either one of us, you know, if you have any questions, or I know the link in your bio, in my bio, you fill it out, you'll get an email with more information also.
Yeah, awesome.
So.
Yeah, and if you're looking for the website, I'll link it below after we post this, but the program, again, limited to 12 women only, and it is called Fresh Start Formula. And if you want to go to the website, it is Emily Ledford Fitness / Fresh Start Formula. EmilyLedfordFitness.com. .com / Fresh Start Formula. So I'll definitely link that below and write it correctly so you can find it. But yeah, and we'd be happy to send you more information and everything. But this, I want it to be a game changer. That's the thing. I want it to be the final straw. You don't have to do like constant diets, or at least feel like you have to do constant diets, because that's just not where the answer is to sustainable weight management. It's just not as much as we want it, because there's always a new diet, right?
Yeah, not for most people. I mean, you do get the occasional one-off that, you know, follows a diet and then follows it for the rest of their life. But that's like a unicorn, you know, it's hard to find, you know, it's not something that's, so we want people to feel like they are eating, like they're just feeling like normal, you know, like there's not this on and off and stress and anxiety and, oh my God, I'm gaining weight and now I have to, and all of this stress, anxiety around our eating, where you can just eat, enjoy your food, maintain a normal weight, a weight that's healthy, and move on with your life, not have to be wrapped up in the constant blur of another diet, you know.
Yeah, and food is not just fuel. I know you hear that sometimes, and yes, it's fuel, absolutely, but it is also meant to be enjoyed. So a lot of people can't enjoy it anymore because of their anxiety around food. So yeah, hope to change, hope to help bring change to that.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Claudia, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll be talking to you soon. And like we said, if anyone has any questions, just hit us up and we'll let you know more. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much, Claudia.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.